Did you hear your name called when you were alone? Or somehow you bumped with another time zone? A ghostly being appeared by your bed, and it was none other than dead Uncle Fred. You had a dream which later came true, or a spaceship appeared from out of the blue. A toddler talked of his lifetime before, or an empty chair had rocked on the floor. Your life took a turn when a stranger said hi, with deja vu feelings you could not deny. Those things to you were a little bit hazy. If you had told some, they'd label you crazy. Well, that was the past. Now dawns the new age, as earthlings commence to write a new page. Sightings bizarre are growing in number. Our world transcends from out of a slumber. Send in your thoughts, for we keep a file. And for higher awareness, do not touch that dial. Calling Scorpiona. Earth to Scorpiona. Earth to Scorpiona, come in please. Earth to Scorpiona.
Greetings. This is Paranormal Hostess Scorpiona. I'm going to read to you The Parrot Lady, which is a story that I wrote way back in 1990. The following is a true story which tells of life after death experiences, including those of pets. Comforting to those who grieve, it is indeed profound and may alter the way that one views physical death in general and/or the animal and bird kingdoms. A female voice called out my birth name. Light and cheerful, it pulled me abruptly out of a deep sleep. Upon awakening, I saw a vapor-like form of a lady by the right side of the bed. But what caught my eye the most was the large parrot sitting on her wispy arm. The apparition lasted for about half a minute before I dozed back off. I was not enthusiastic about waking, as I felt that my soul had been ripped in two. In the previous week, I had to have my longtime companion, Band-Aid Conure Parrot, put to sleep. 3 weeks before that, I was laid off from my automotive executive secretarial position at Christmas. Though seeing a ghostly being by the bed would intimidate most people, it is not unusual for some females in my family, though these occurrences do not happen daily. As an example, one relative, a department store clerk, reported looking up from her packaging detail to see a whole family attired in clothing from the 1800s. One could assume that they were going to a centennial celebration. When she glanced up again, however, they had vanished and nobody else had seen them. Paranormal experiences for me started in childhood, but really accelerated when I reached my 20s. The apparition of an empty cage which appeared to float in midair by my bed one night alerted me that my roommate, Coco Bird, would not be with me much longer on the earth plane. I will never forget the day Coco was put to sleep. She was puffed up and laboring with breath. Since I knew that spirit continues after the physical body gives it up, and her body was causing her pain, my decision was quick at the veterinarian's office, nevertheless painful for me. Previous to the assistant taking her from me, I went over to the heating unit, quietly looked at her for a while. Mentally communicating to her, conveyed that in spite of how much joy she had brought me, I did not want her to suffer any longer. I was releasing her to the angels. If she was able to return to me in spirit, I would look forward to that. A few months later, it happened. Cocoa Bird's spirit returned. As I awoke in the middle of the night, she was already on my shoulder, and I could feel her rubbing on my neck. The loving energy was felt for a brief time only, as she seemed to glow in the dark. While most of my supernatural experiences occur when it is dark, and I am half asleep in an altered state of consciousness, my mother had seen the bird's ghost under different conditions. A reporter from our local TV channel 7 had called and wanted me to comment on a news item for the 5 o'clock airing. We were in a hurry to tidy up the living room. My mother had witnessed the bird flying from the room where she had been caged down the hallway to another room where it often had landed on the drapery rod. Her first reaction was to yell for Coco to get down before she caught herself, realizing that the beloved parrot was no longer with us in body. In this instance, like the 1800s family, the spirit appeared solid, in daylight, and when the witness was preoccupied. For me, animal spirit visitation was not new. I had a German Shepherd police dog very dedicated to me. We walked nightly. About a month after her physical death, I was still feeling very low. While taking a nap around the time of our routine, I felt a sharp nudge in my back that awakened me. I rolled over to see a large ball of glowing red energy by my bed. When I screamed, it immediately disappeared. Because I was younger and had not gracefully accepted my abilities yet, it scared me. Dog's ghost was obviously around me often because other psychics had seen her with me from time to time, describing her as a wolf. She was very large. I remember waking from a phone call at night to see the dog's ghost lying on the floor in my bedroom. The dog jumped up and ran into the hallway as if she had heard the ringing too. I arose quickly to follow her toward the phone, but she had vanished by the time I turned the corner. It should be noted that I had changed residence after the dog's death, and she appeared in my new home. One never knows what to expect from other dimensions. During another night, I had awoken to use the bathroom. Not totally awake, I felt groggy as I noticed a glowing form to the left of my bed. It was the back half of a horse standing, still, as in a stall. If visible, the front half would have extended through and beyond my bedroom wall. Not totally awake, but still half asleep, I went to pat the ethereal horse on its butt as I intended to pass behind, not yet realizing that I was in my bedroom, not a barn. To my senses, the bed seemed to have temporarily disappeared, similar to not being able to see through heavy fog at night. Apparently, during this brief encounter, as a result of altered consciousness, the heavenly apparition was dominant and overpowered our earthly dimension. When I went to touch the horse, my hand passed through it. Because I meant to step around the back of the horse, I stumbled into the corner of my bed. This jarred my psychic vibration, and the paranormal realm instantly disappeared. Though I have more insight into the spirit world than most, nothing compensates for the void feeling caused by loss of a companion. I had a friend, Maria Mora, worked criminal investigations with me on a psychic level. She and I would often discuss our clues over dinner at Shalimar in Farmington Hills, Michigan, which was one of my favorite restaurants. The cuisine of India was excellent, and we particularly liked the atmosphere. At our request, the owner, Pam Reen, would seat us away from the public so we could have private investigation discussions. In the days following Coco's physical death, I was not much for talking, even about our sleuth work, which I enjoyed. During dinner, I relayed the Parrot Lady experience to Maria. Then, out of the blue, she asked me if I knew a Rebecca or Sarah. I did not. The name Sarah, however, did catch my eye when I later spotted it on a page of psychic reading notes from another friend, Kendra. The sheet was stuffed into an old dictionary, and the notes dated back to the 70s. Kendra has the uncanny ability of accurately predicting names of those who could be significant in one's lifetime, long before they surface. The Parrot Lady remained embedded in my mind and continued to haunt me. At first, I thought that maybe she was an angel who looked out for the bird kingdom. Though I am sure her intentions were good, her visitation did not really uplift me that much, because I wanted to see Coco, not another bird. The apparition remained a mystery for 2 years. I was put in contact with the former Whispering Oaks Aviary in Findlay, Ohio. When I expressed my wishes for a new sociable bird, a visit was suggested. When I got there, I noticed that the owner had the same happy, cheerful voice that called me out of my sleep during my grieving. Her personal pet was a macaw named Kayla. The owner's name was Becky, short for Rebecca, and the bird she recommended for me had already been named Sarah. The apparition of the Parrot Lady reminded me of another similar experience. I awoke one night to see the form of a doctor dressed for surgery who seemed to be dozing in my room as if relaxing in a chair, though there was no physical chair in my bedroom. When I awoke, he seemed to spring up as if waiting for me to awake. Then his form changed into the face of a nurse that disappeared. The next day, we were advised that my mother had to have surgery. I had not met the surgeon until after the operation. When he came down to the waiting room to tell us the surgery was successful, it was the same doctor whose form I had already seen in my room. All of these paranormal stories bring certain questions to mind. Is part or all of life's pathway predetermined? Is there an afterlife following physical death? Can the spirit leave the body in the sleep state, though we may not always be consciously aware, to travel through space for whatever reason? Can dimensions communicate with one another? Under what conditions, if that is the case? Can we interact with one another or ethereal entities while out of body? Well, can we? Now, at my ripe old age, and I just turned 72, I can truthfully tell you that this is so. Long ago, I had lost the fear of death when I experienced astral projection, out-of-body experiences. It occurs when one's spirit leaves the body to float as an invisible form, to most, in other dimensions. After years of attracting paranormal activity and being counsel to many, I have arrived at certain conclusions. If spirit energy does not enter a baby's body, the physical shell cannot live because the spirit gives and sustains life force. During astral projection, the body does not die because the spirit is still connected to the physical body by an invisible cord of energy. The astral body is able to maneuver in other dimensions and then returns to the physical body. Almost everyone can remember dreams with sensation of flying. My godmother told me that she was taken out of her sleeping body when her deceased stepchild returned and took her by the hand for a walk. My godmother's neighbors saw her walking with the deceased little girl as though the child was still living. The thought process while in other dimensions remains intact while one is able to move by mental command. Since thoughts manifest in those dimensions, the quality of one's thought patterns, some call these prayers, of the utmost importance. When a physical death occurs, the astral cord of energy is severed. The spirit or ghost goes to the beyond, but does not return to the same body that it inhabited since birth. I believe that these other dimensions exist around us, but on different frequencies. For the brief period that one is able to communicate with a particular dimension, one must be on the exact vibration of that dimension, similar to a radio tuning into a particular station. The invisible radio waves are all around, but the sound is only heard when the radio is finely tuned. Consider the blades of a fan. One can see them when they are still, but when they vibrate at a high speed, one sees through them. Beings from other dimensions interact with earthlings when and if they choose. These experiences cannot be forced or purchased because they have no price tag. Science has not yet determined why some people have such experiences while others do not even get a glimpse of those worlds, though they grieve terribly for the deceased. Years ago, Thomas Edison was considered to be eccentric. Today, he is viewed as a master genius because his work is understood. Perhaps, as the human race continues to evolve, the secret of the Vale of Tears will likewise unravel.